Now, while it's been brought to my attention that a lot of the apologist content that I cover is low-hanging fruit, but hey, let's face facts, pretty much all apologetics is low-hanging fruit, I think it's important to not only respond to the content that is framed by the individual's rhetoric, but also to the substance of the rhetoric itself. With that in mind, I came across a series of shorts put out by a guy who's named his channel 5KIQ.
Oh, that's hyperbole.
Now, I've never had the pleasure of responding to anyone, let alone an apologist with a self-reported IQ of 5,000, so I had to check out his stuff. And given how he's titled these clips, it is apparent he has a very real problem with atheists. So let's dive into the substance of his rhetoric and see exactly what he has to say.
Every single atheist has no idea how to prove God or heaven to be real.
Well, being atheists, we don't exactly have one ourselves because, we're atheists. We're not the ones making the positive claim about external reality. I mean, we can certainly steelman the various theist arguments and even do internal critiques of that worldview, but ultimately what we have are yours, the theists' attempts to prove that such things exist. And from there, we can critically analyze the claims being made and the reasoning behind why those claims are being made to determine if the conclusion that you're coming to is rationally justified. It's through this pragmatic approach that we're able to reveal things like logical fallacies. And if such things are revealed in the course of that analysis, then there is no rational reason for us to accept what you're claiming about external reality as being true. Thus, belief in your God concept is irrational and therefore unwarranted, and atheism is the position taken as a result.
Or they simply don't care to try.
Like I said, we can steelman your arguments or provide an internal critique, but that doesn't entail that we actually believe that any god or gods exist. Why exactly is it that you think we are the ones that should be demonstrating something that by definition is logically contradictory or unfalsifiable?
Either way, it looks like you want them all to die.
Okay, that went in a weird direction.
The point is heaven, to continue to live. The point of continuing to live is to experience life's pleasures.
Ah, I get it. You think being an atheist and thus rejecting concepts like heaven as being real means that we just want people to die. While that is deeply convoluted, I can kind of see how you're coming to that conclusion. But you are in fact wrong on that. We acknowledge that one day we will die, sure. We acknowledge the reality that biological life ends. And we acknowledge that an eternal existence pretty much devalues everything we're experiencing now. My favorite analogy here is for you to imagine if you only had $100 for the rest of your life. Because of the limitation, what you do with every one of those dollars becomes extremely important. Contextually, if you were to lose one of those dollars, it would be devastating. But if you have infinite dollars, then each individual dollar is rendered valueless. You could literally burn half of what you have and you still wouldn't lose 1 cent. If I have a fixed number of days, the number of which I do not know, to accomplish the things I want to accomplish, this incentivizes me to get to work. But if I have infinite days, then what's the value of a lost day when I have infinite more days where that came from?
Go rot in a prison cell, every single atheist.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Told you he had a serious problem.
I am talking to you because I know some of you are watching. Hopefully not a lot, because y'all are cowards. Big ones, too.
Well, obviously I'm not a coward because I'm responding directly to you. And of course, I didn't hear any justification for why anyone should believe in a god or gods. So now that we've established our foundation with that first clip, let's dive a little deeper.
There is 4.6 billion creator god theists in the world.
Because I couldn't find a specific date as to when this clip was uploaded, I wanted to fact check that number. And the closest that I could get to an estimate was from a Pew Research study conducted in 2012. From the data collected, it was estimated that the world's population of theists stood around 84%, or roughly 5.8 billion people. And the group of individuals reporting as unaffiliated, agnostic, atheist, or none make up about 1.19 billion people. Ultimately, due to the large number of variables that are involved, without special access to people's minds, coming up with a solid number is virtually impossible. So the best that we can really attest to is that there are more self-reporting believers than there are self-reporting non-believers. And from that pretty basic conclusion, I ask, so what?
So clearly, atheists are not effective at changing someone to become an atheist.
Well, that's just demonstrably false, given that the statistics show that those reporting as atheist, agnostic, or none has increased steadily over time as our collective understanding of reality has improved. According to the current research from 1980 to 2020, That group of individuals identifying as atheist, agnostic, or nones has on average doubled, and in some countries even tripled. Now, there are of course countries that are autocratic theocracies, where the number of self-reporting non-believers has not increased and pretty much remained steady, but that's likely due to the constant threat from their government of imprisonment and death for being a non-believer. But despite that, the global number is going up. So obviously, spreading rationality, reason, and logic is having a positive effect on the planet.
Which means they're stupid.
I guess that's something, right?
And the reason they're stupid is because people desire to continue to live.
We get that there are people out there that are so terrified of dying or of the process of dying that they will literally hang their hat on anything and everything that can help to alleviate their existential dread. But the emotional utility of a thing does not tell you anything that is true about reality. If you don't like non-believers countering your claims, feel free to stop proselytizing and evangelizing for your cult at any time.
People desire to continue to live, to see friends and family and pets, and to do things that please them.
All of which have nothing to do with what is true. What you're advocating for here is that it is more virtuous to abandon reason and logic so that one can accept a pretty lie than to acknowledge and accept harsh truths like the fact that none of us are getting out of this alive. And as such, you are incentivized to make the most of it while you can.
They can't do that if they believe in your way, atheists.
Yes, the employment of reason and logic does often disavow people from believing that fairy tales are true.
It's either my way or the motherfucking highway, bitch.
Terrifying.
Moving on.
Over the course of 10 years of daily debate with atheists that do debate, I've come to the conclusion, based on my sightings, that they don't actually have reason to be an atheist besides how stupid they are to not be able to prove God or heaven, or to find proof.
Okay, so you're just repeating this weird notion that people identify as atheists because they can't prove a God exists. But you don't seem to realize that by that logic, if a God could be proven to exist, then they wouldn't be atheists anymore. But it's you, not atheists, that are claiming a God does in fact exist, which puts the burden of that proof on you. So this is just you shifting the burden of proof. If you think you can demonstrate that such an entity exists, please feel free to bring the evidence anytime.
And that's because they never support atheism or refute theism.
Supporting atheism is easy. I'm not convinced that a god or gods exist. Thus, I do not possess the belief that they do. Therefore, I'm an atheist. Debunking a god, however, depends upon what god we're talking about. If your god definitionally entails a logical contradiction, then that god doesn't exist. It's actually pretty easy. Which does make me wonder about the educational level of the various atheists you claim to be talking to, or if you just made that up and you've never actually talked to an atheist.
They just say a claim that we're wrong, that there's no God, that we're delusional, that we're committing a fallacy, but they never explain anything.
Actually, I do explain this stuff. I explain it all. Just ask any regular viewer of my channel. Maybe you should check out my channel so that you could get the answers that you're looking for.
And when they try, when some of them finally try.
Oh, so you can see that some of them do explain this stuff, which means you just contradicted yourself. And it sounds like you're about to shift the goalposts.
It's irrelevant.
Yep, shifted the goalposts. Which pretty much means that even if you were to be given the appropriate explanation as to why your reasoning is bad, you just hand wave it away anyway.
Do you know why they can't either find or it's irrelevant? Because they're an idiot. If they weren't an idiot, they'd be able to prove God or heaven.
A person holding to the position of atheism is generally the result of you, the positive claimant, being unable to demonstrate the truth of the proposition. You certainly believe it is the case, but you can't demonstrate that it is in fact the case. All you can really do is rely upon the fallacious reasoning that gets you to that conclusion. In what world would you ever expect every single other person to willingly reason as badly as you do?
But they have no idea what they're talking about, quite clearly. And this is based on my daily debate experience. My experience of daily debate with atheists over the last 10 years.
Well, you've never encountered me nor debated me formally. Now, I can't speak to the quality of the individuals you have debated, nor do I know if you're representing those experiences accurately. Nonetheless, I've broken down why what you're expecting to see is irrational, and you still have yet to demonstrate that any kind of a god exists. Maybe this next clip will actually provide what you keep insinuating you have.
Our brains have a very large storage capacity.
This does appear to be the case. And while we don't have a solid number, the estimated storage capacity of the human brain is around 2.5 petabytes, or 2.5 million gigabytes. Now, if only we could do something about improving the user interface, am I right?
So that makes thoughts downloadable content, or DLC.
Hit me.
Methinks someone is a Keanu Reeves fan.
Since the human body now represents something in a computer program or video game,
Wait, what?
it is therefore concluded that we will respawn.
Right.
Or pop up again.
So that got really weird and creepy. I strongly recommend not putting that claim to the test. Let's see if we can wrap this up. Bring us your best, 5K.
Atheists do not want to live life because they do not want to believe in the concept of heaven to continue it, or to prove the concept of heaven existent in order to continue their life.
While I cannot speak for every non-believer on the planet, I can tell you this. If a thing like heaven existed, if that was a true proposition, that is a thing that I would want to know. Wanting to exist there is entirely separate. I myself don't want to exist eternally for the reasons that I stated earlier. Other people may not see it that way, and that's fine. But I'm certainly not going to hold the proposition as being true just because you're afraid of the inevitable end. And seeing as how you're the one making the positive claim regarding the existence of a heaven, the burden is on you, not me, to demonstrate how you know that to be true.
So apparently, life's pleasures are pretty stupid to atheists because they're not really worth continuing to live over.
Well, that's just a non sequitur. That we acknowledge the fact that life ends does not logically entail that we don't care about anything in life. I'm actually willing to bet that what you said there was really just your weird version of the whole atheism entails nihilism take that the more philosophically bankrupt apologists tend to throw around. And seeing as how out of 5 clips you've provided no justification for belief in the existence of a god or gods, followed by insults directed towards the people that refuse to make the same errors you're making, there's no rational reason that anyone should take you or your claim seriously. I would, however, recommend that you might want to see a professional about your apparent anger issues. That we non-believers don't accept your claim shouldn't be a reason for anger, because it should be a reason for you to inquire as to why we don't accept them. That is, of course, if what you're really interested in is that which is true and not just being personally validated. Be safe, be excellent to each other. I'll see you next time.